How similar was the conversation that you were having, you and your colleagues were having during the Clinton administration?
Well, there were a few things that were different. First is that North Korea is far more advanced in their nuclear weapons and missile capabilities now than they were then. So the threat is greater than, today than it was then. But at that time, the United States was acting in a very strategic and very measured way, where there was the possibility of the use of force, and that was set in the larger context of a strategy that actually had a decent, very imperfect result. In this case, there is no discernible strategy. The president seems to be, according to the administration officials, mouthing off, not part of any kind of strategic communications plan. And the world has already accommodated the fiery rhetoric that comes from North Korea. That's what we all expect. Nobody expects a similar level of rhetoric coming from the United States. So in many ways, while the North Korean nuclear missile program is destabilizing the world, the seeming irrationality and uncontrollability and unpredictability of the American president is even more destabilizing, because the world is based in many ways on an expectation of how the United States will act.
It strikes me, and correct me if I'm wrong here if you disagree, that the president from very early on did appreciate the gravity of this threat. You look at the trip that his Secretary of Defense, his Secretary of State took early on to South Korea, to the region, to talk about this issue in particular. Something the president said over and over again is the era of strategic patience has ended.
Well, that's for sure clear. But if there was an era of strategic patience that moved into an era of strategic less patience, then we'd be having a very different conversation. We've gone from strategic patience, which has the word strategic in it, to chaos. And that's why everybody around the world is so uncertain. And there are some people who are saying, well, there was so much predictability in the United States that nobody was on their toes because they knew the United States would be so measured. But now we have the president of the United States threatening another country with nuclear war. And it's a new normal, but we're not used to it, and it's extremely dangerous.